Lexie, whether it's diving on the floor, tipping balls out for rebounds, all of the little things that you do to impact this game. How do you describe the desire in you right now?
I mean, we want to win. We want to keep playing. We want another game in Vegas, so that's what we're fighting for. We don't want our season to end.
The Indiana Fever, playing without 6 key players including Caitlin Clark, just handed the Las Vegas Aces their toughest postseason reality check. And Lexie Hull made sure the sting was unforgettable, especially for AJA Wilson. While Aaliyah Boston locked Wilson down with relentless defense and Kelsey Mitchell poured in points, the Fever rose like warriors. This wasn't supposed to happen. No one outside Indiana's loyal fanbase believed this depleted roster could go toe-to-toe with the two-time champions. Yet here they are, dragging the Aces into a winner-take-all Game 5 with a trip to the WNBA Finals on the line. And the best part? Lexie Hull didn't just show up on the court, she verbally dismantled AJA Wilson's post-game outburst, humiliating the so-called MVP and reminding everyone that Indiana refuses to bow to the league's favorites. If you're fired up for the Fever, drop a "fired up" in the comments.
You've got the momentum right now. You can close it out and force that Game 5. What are the most important things here in the fourth quarter?
Keep them off the free throw line, knocking down shots, and just sticking to our scout. I think we've done a pretty good job of that so far, but just keep it going for 10 more minutes. Thank you.
What happens when the entire basketball world writes you off? The experts at ESPN dismissed them. Odds makers labeled it a mismatch, and the Aces laughed at the thought of being challenged. But the Indiana Fever, short-handed, battered, and missing 6 players, including Caitlin Clark, refused to accept that script. This wasn't just a playoff game, it was survival. And they approached it with the urgency of a team hanging by a thread.
You've been in a back-against-the-wall situation just last round where you had to win 2 games in a row. Just what's the mindset kind of going into this game?
No, I mean, it's desperation. And it's not a reckless desperation. It's just a desperation in terms of the urgency that you have to play with. We have been in these situations. We've been in lots of different situations throughout the course of the season. And our players understand what we have to do. We have to leave it all out on the floor.
Think about the setup. A 6th seed dragging a half-strength roster into a game against the powerhouse Aces. A team loaded with stars, trophies, and swagger. Vegas strutted into Gainbridge Fieldhouse expecting to slam the door shut. Instead, they walked straight into a storm. By the end of the night, Indiana had flipped the narrative on its head and delivered one of the gutsiest postseason wins in franchise history.
This is a way of getting your game pick. Do they do it again today and end this thing? 3, 2, 1.
Yes!
That's not an answer. 3, 2, 1.
The Fever haven't lost back-to-back games, right?
The Fever have never lost consecutive games at home in the postseason. And one other thing, let's show Steph White very quickly. Our incredible researcher, Jenny, went through the tape and found that when Steph White wears her red leather jacket, I do believe we have some video of that, they are undefeated.
Okay.
A perfect 4-0. Does that change your mind at all? Is that your pick?
Yeah. Let's just go with it.
You're going Fever?
No, I'm not. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I can't. Drea, make a pick. You haven't done it.
I'm struggling.
Make a pick.
I don't know. I'll tell you what.
Make it for the
Do it now.
Do it now.
I'm going to go with the Aces. Okay. We'll decide post.
The adversity went far beyond injuries. A veteran left mid-season for Phoenix, leaving the locker room even thinner on experience. Officiating had been lopsided for weeks, creating a constant uphill battle. And still, Indiana refused to quit. This was the 3rd elimination game of their playoff run. Twice before, they'd been pushed to the brink. Twice before, they'd answered back with wins. Game 4 was the next test of their resilience, and they played with the desperation of a team that simply refused to die.
I can't even lie, after last game, I thought the Fever were done. I didn't know if they had any more fight in them. They looked tired, they looked kind of beat up. And somehow they come out today in their Stranger Things jerseys, which, by the way, I think have magical powers. They come out in their Stranger Things jerseys and beat the Aces. And they beat the Aces even with Asia scoring 31 points, I believe it was. Playing so much more efficiently than last game. And somehow they come out and win this game with their backs against the wall, win or go home game, and force a Game 5 against the Aces.
Execution was everything. The Fever protected their possessions, chased down loose rebounds, and stayed locked in on defense. They frustrated Vegas with discipline, turning every mistake into momentum. By halftime, the swagger that had carried the Aces was gone, replaced by visible frustration. And then came the play that defined the moment. Becky Hammon burned a timeout she didn't have. The whistle, the technical foul, and the stunned faces on the Aces bench said it all. Indiana was no longer the team under pressure. Vegas was.
Now they're going back to Vegas, but at this point in time, how do you ever bet against the Fever? They've had 18 players play on this team this year because of all of the injuries that they have. And they have hardship contract players that they signed a month ago who are starting for them. Like, it's just kind of, it's really just wild at this point. I don't even know how to predict Game 5. They could really pull it off. Could you imagine they go to the finals? I mean, I guess stranger things have happened.
This wasn't luck. It wasn't a lucky bounce of the ball. It was toughness, composure, and unshakable belief from a team everyone had counted out. Indiana didn't just extend the series, they announced that they were one step away from their first finals appearance in a decade. And while Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell basked in well-earned praise, AJA Wilson chose a different path. Instead of showing grace in defeat, she did what she's become known for, throwing a temper tantrum and playing the victim at the post-game press conference.
But Aaliyah did say I have a special whistle. And she shot 13 today. Yeah. Yeah, she said the last game I had a special whistle, which is cool.
Think about this for a second. Why are the Aces suddenly crying about officiating after 3 straight games of being spoon-fed soft whistles? That's the hypocrisy staring everyone right in the face. Because if you've been paying attention since Game 1, it was the Fever who kept getting burned by the refs. Every time Aaliyah Boston battled for position in the post, she'd get hit with a foul. Every time Kelsey Mitchell fought to stay in front of her defender, she was punished with a whistle for the slightest contact. And who benefited? Las Vegas.
You're looking at that box score, I'm wondering what's really standing out to you there.
I was just looking at the fouls. Like, Liz had 5, Jackie had 5, Chelsea had 5. And that's very interesting to me because I'm not saying we don't foul. Yeah, we foul here and there, but that's very interesting.
Those freebies at the stripe fueled their rhythm, padded AJA Wilson's stats, and handed them easy points that Indiana never got. So when Game 4 rolled around and the Fever finally attacked the rim enough to earn their own whistles, suddenly the Aces bench erupted like the world was ending.
For Becky, certainly felt like a differently officiated game than other parts of the series. I think we had more defensive 3 seconds today than any other part of the playoffs. I just wonder how you felt about the overall flow of the game.
Well, they shot 34 free throws and we shot 11. Next question.
The funniest part was that you could see Becky Hammond's frustration building all night. Every time Boston bumped Wilson, Hammond's arms flew up in mock disbelief. By the time she sat down at the post-game podium, she didn't even bother breaking the game down. She just spat out one line: they shot 34 free throws, and we shot 11. Next question. No talk of execution. No acknowledgement of mistakes. Just pure irritation at seeing the whistle tilt the other way for once. It laid bare just how much Vegas relies on having the referees in their back pocket to stay comfortable.
I gotta go back and look at the tape, but it seemed like there was a lot of grabbing and holding down there. That got called one way. Anything else? I did appreciate it was a little tighter called, but tighter on both ends would have been nice.
But here's the truth the Aces don't want to hear. Indiana's trips to the line weren't some gift, they were the result of strategy. Boston fought for deep seals. Mitchell and Odyssey Sims drove with purpose. The guards repeatedly forced defenders into contact at the rim. That's the blueprint for earning free throws. If you live in the paint, you get rewarded. Meanwhile, Vegas settled. Wilson relied on tough mid-range shots while her teammates floated around the perimeter. If you don't attack the basket, you don't get whistles, simple math. And yet, Wilson still chose to get sarcastic after the game, claiming Boston had some special whistle because she drew 13 attempts. Funny, because Wilson practically invented the special whistle through games 1 to 3.
There were so many other plays where it felt like Asia was bullying other players on the Fever. And I want you to watch this play here with Lexie Hall. She's standing her ground. She's trying to down screen and Asia just chucks her to the ground. Now there was no whistle there and you can see ref number 16 right there. He's watching the whole thing happen. No whistle. They just kind of let it go.
Let's zoom out for a moment. The foul totals across the series were nearly identical between both teams. That proves Game 4 wasn't some grand conspiracy. It was simply balance correcting itself. Indiana finally stopped settling on the perimeter and attacked the paint instead. That's not favoritism. That's basketball done right. So why the theatrics? Because when the Aces lose, the easiest scapegoat isn't poor execution, it's the officials. But look closer, Vegas didn't drop Game 4 because the refs betrayed them. They lost because Indiana punished mismatches, forced defenders into tough rotations, and made them guard every inch of the floor. 3 Aces starters finished with 5 fouls not because of bias, but because they couldn't keep up. Add in Becky Hammon's meltdown timeout, burning one she didn't even have, and suddenly the Fever had an extra point plus possession in crunch time. That wasn't theft by referees. That was Vegas handing Indiana an opening, and Indiana cashing in.
Megan had 4.
What? Oh my God, that's interesting. That's what I was looking at. But we'll do better. We gotta play better defense.
By interesting, do you mean that shit?
Yeah, I can't say that because I got a brand to protect. But
You say it, I have no brand.
yeah, it's interesting. But we'll be better.
When you strip away the excuses, Game 4's tantrum looks hollow. The Aces weren't victims of some anti-Vegas conspiracy. They were bullied in the paint, beaten on the boards, and out-hustled by a team missing half its roster. That special whistle Wilson complained about? It wasn't special at all. It was Indiana finally playing special basketball and forcing the Aces to actually defend.
What do you think of the job Aaliyah's been doing this series?
I mean, she's a force in the paint, and we wouldn't have won last night's game, any of our games without her. So I'm proud of her ability to be consistent and continuing to impact the game, not only offensively, but her ability to impact Asia's game defensively has been huge for us this series.
You heard that right. Lexie Hull didn't mince words. She put the spotlight exactly where it belonged, on Aaliyah Boston, the anchor who clamped down on AJA Wilson from start to finish. No theatrics, no drama, just cold, hard facts. Yes, Wilson put up 31 points on paper, but those numbers came from clawing through Boston's wall of defense. Every attempt was contested, every drive cut off. Nothing came easy, and on the other end, Boston wasn't just holding her ground. She was punishing Vegas with 24 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 assists. That's what domination looks like. She didn't just play defense, she controlled every inch of the game, forcing Wilson into a grind and then making her pay with buckets of her own.
Hull getting back to Young. Young, 3 to shoot, bounces. Lloyd gets swallowed up by Boston.
Analysts couldn't ignore it. One called Boston's performance tremendous, marveling at how she could set bone-crushing screens, seal defenders in the paint, finish inside, and then pivot back to protect the rim, all without ever losing her composure. That's the kind of two-way presence Indiana hasn't seen since the Tamika Catchings era. When your young center is forcing the reigning MVP to fight for every crumb, you know you've got something special.
Coming off the on-ball, getting her feet set. 2-point game, Boston center of the lane. Finishes plus the foul.
But Boston wasn't alone. Kelsey Mitchell was electric, pouring in 25 points with every jumper sharper than the last. And when the game tightened, she was the one who stepped to the line and calmly buried free throws as Gainbridge Fieldhouse erupted in MVP chants. Think about how poetic that is, a player who spent years overlooked, carrying this franchise through its darkest days, now standing in the middle of a roaring arena, hearing her name sung like a coronation. That wasn't just scoring, it was vindication.
Mitchell dances, takes, and connects, with Lloyd coming in. Backdoor, Mitchell lays it in on a beautiful delivery from Boston, plus the foul.
And her ability to contest.
Mitchell burying the three. Here's Mitchell. Mitchell able to hit.
Of it.
Mitchell stops and hits. And this thing today, Mitchell splits the D.
Then came Lexie Hull herself. By all accounts, she shouldn't even have been logging big minutes. After being body-slammed by Wilson in earlier games, she was battling a sore back that begged for rest. But instead of bowing out, she transformed into Indiana's defensive engine. Hull hounded Jackie Young relentlessly, picked off passes with 4 steals, crashed the boards for 7 rebounds, and still found time to chip in 7 points. What mattered most wasn't her box score, it was her refusal to disappear. She dove for loose balls, threw herself into every scrap, and set the tone that the Fever weren't going to be bullied out of this series.
In fewer games, as Hull knocks it away, and it stays inbound.
That's the second time that Hull has saved the layup with her weak side help defense.
Shea Petty in off the bench. Stephanie White liked the way she battled in game 3. Boston gives it up. Mitchell with Wilson switched on her. Now Young gets back. Hull connects. Out of 3.
And while fans already knew about Boston and Mitchell, Odyssey Sims' performance was the surprise spark. After a nightmare showing in Game 3, she roared back with 18 points on 6 of 9 shooting. She even knocked down her only 3-point attempt, a shot that felt like a dagger. Her drive sliced through Vegas' defense, forcing rotations that freed up Mitchell and Boston to shine. It was the textbook definition of a bounce-back game, a redemption arc unfolding in real time.
Yeah, obviously you were 0-for-7 on Friday. Just what did you do in these 2 days to kind of have a kind of bounce back, or what mindset were you coming into this game?
Just leave that game where it is. It's the past. Focus on today. Just didn't change my mindset. Didn't change anything besides just being more aggressive, making sure we got to beat the ball. I mean, nobody can stop her down there. Loved her aggression today. When we carry it over on Tuesday, keep it going so we can get to the finals.
Quietly but critically, Shea Petty added her veteran calm. 7 points, 2 steals, and several possessions where she slowed the chaos, read the floor, and gave Indiana the composure it needed. Those moments don't make highlight reels, but they win playoff games. When Vegas tried to rattle the Fever, Petty's steadiness was the anchor that kept the ship from drifting. Piece by piece, the Fever dismantled every doubt thrown their way. Boston clamped the MVP. Mitchell lit up the scoreboard. Hull bled for the cause. Sims delivered redemption. And Petty steadied the wheel. Together, they proved that "we over me," Boston's mantra, wasn't just a slogan. It was the foundation of this team.
It's awesome. I mean, you've seen, obviously, our fan base grow, but there's fans that have been here the whole time. There's players, I mean, Kelsey's been here forever, her whole career. So to be able to kind of be in this moment and appreciate where we've come and where we're continuing to go, this is the best time to be in the Fever franchise.
Vegas. One night. Winner goes to the finals, loser goes home. After the Indiana Fever sent Gainbridge Fieldhouse into absolute chaos with their Game 4 win, the series now shifts to Michelob Ultra Arena. It's the kind of environment that can chew up visiting teams, tight quarters, roaring fans, and a Las Vegas squad desperate to protect its home court. Indiana knows exactly what they're walking into, a storm of noise and pressure with everything on the line. The weight of history is undeniable. The Fever now sit just 1 win away from their first finals berth in a decade. 10 years of frustration, mediocrity, and rebuilding all come down to 40 minutes of basketball. Think about it. Back in 2015, when the Fever last reached this stage, Caitlin Clark was still in high school. Aaliyah Boston wasn't yet a household name. Kelsey Mitchell was just beginning her college journey. Now, they're the ones carrying Indiana into the future, rewriting the identity of a franchise that was once at the bottom of the league.
I think the biggest thing for us is again, like we've been through everything. So being in these types of situations isn't new to us. It's when we've been at our best, and we've got to continue to be. This group really just rallies around one another. The desperation and the urgency that we play with when we're in those positions has been exactly what we need, and we've just got to bottle that up and take it with us. I mean, it's a one-game season right now, and we got to carry it all over.
But Las Vegas isn't going to roll over. AJA Wilson just became the youngest player to reach 1,000 career playoff points, and no one doubts she'll storm into Game 5 determined to erase the memory of Boston owning the matchup in Game 4. Expect Wilson to attack relentlessly from the opening tip, trying to draw whistles and push Indiana's front court into early foul trouble. That will be Becky Hammond's blueprint: feed Wilson until something breaks. The Fever's formula, however, has already been proven. In Game 4, Boston carved out 24 points, grabbed 14 rebounds, and dished 5 assists while holding Wilson to contested shot after contested shot. Kelsey Mitchell was the closer, dropping 25 points and sealing the win from the free throw line. Odyssey Sims slashed her way to 18 points, breaking open Vegas defense. And Lexie Hull, bad back and all, delivered 7 rebounds and 4 steals while pestering Jackie Young into frustration. That was the template: discipline in the paint, balanced scoring, and defense that forced the Aces to earn every inch.
1 game away from the finals. where you came from, in August when people were going down with injuries. I mean, how do you wrap your head around that, knowing that there's still work to be done?
Yeah, honestly, for me, all the credit has to go to God. Seriously, I mean, just thinking about where we are right now, just like you said, we lost people to injuries, and no one stepped down, no one dropped their heads. But I think Steph and the entire staff just did a great job of us telling us, like, listen, it doesn't matter who's in this locker room, it's about who's in here, and we're going to do everything we can to be successful, and we just kept working.
Game 5 will come down to matchups and execution. Boston versus Wilson remains the heavyweight clash, but Mitchell's ability to navigate traps and double teams will determine whether Indiana's offense runs smoothly or stalls. Hull's health will be pivotal too. Her defense on Jackie Young could swing critical possessions, even if it doesn't light up the box score. Head coach Stephanie White summed it up best: "The desperation and urgency we play with when we're in those positions has been exactly what we need." That has become the Fever's identity: resilience when others expect collapse. Vegas has pride. Indiana has belief. And one more night of that belief could carry the Fever into the finals, turning a season of doubt into the birth of something historic.
And I think for me, this from day one has just been a really special group. We've hit a lot of adversity collectively. I had some tough stuff that I was going through personally, and this group would just rallied around me, rally around each other, and truly do live the mantra of we over me. And it's just been a really, really special group. You don't always get these opportunities to coach groups like this, at the professional level especially. And I think because they're who they are as human beings, it allows us to continue to put one foot in front of the other.
The Indiana Fever aren't just surviving, they're redefining what it means to compete on the biggest stage. Missing Caitlin Clark, battling through injuries, and written off by every analyst, this team refused to quit. Aaliyah Boston anchored. Kelsey Mitchell closed. And Lexie Hull embodied toughness, humiliating AJA Wilson's tantrum with sheer grit. Now, the series hangs on one game. And whether or not Indiana reaches the finals, their fight has already sent a message. This isn't the same old Fever. This is a team that thrives on doubt, feeds on pressure, and just change the balance of power. If you're fired up for the Fever, comment "fired up." And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we'll see you in the next one.